This afternoon is about giving you a sense of what we do. And frankly, if you leave here and apply imagination, you'll be able to see the power and the possibility of what Acumen really represents. And as Jacqueline said, I wish we had the time to talk to you about the healthcare work that we're doing and how incredibly excited we are about our latest investment, which is in an incredible technology in diagnostics and is currently working with BROC, one of the largest NGOs, to provide urgently needed diagnostic for the Rohingya that are flooding to Bangladesh. It's an incredible technology, has incredible possibilities. We just don't have time to tell you about it. And we don't have time to tell you about our work in education, how we're taking what we've learned in India and Pakistan, and we're looking at new models in East Africa, models in private education, models in digital content, models in e-learning platforms. And as Shaila said, of the almost 400 fellows, how do we pick which ones to tell you about? They are doing amazing work out there. One of my favorites, Sarah Kuram, who in Pakistan is taking underemployed doctors who are at home taking care of their children and actually connecting them via telemedicine to low-income women and providing care. So what I want to talk to you about is the organization that we're building that can deliver this work, this tremendous breadth and depth of work. I want to peel back the cover a bit. And it starts by having you understand that one of the most important things is that we're building an organization that stays close to the problems that we're trying to solve. That is the key. Brian Stevenson, who's a global advisor to us and a civil rights leader, talks about staying proximate to the work. And we've been building for over 10 years local teams. And those local teams today are actually determining how and what we are doing, where we can have the greatest impact on the poor. And we are structuring local decision-making bodies so that we are agile, we are faster, and we can accompany them as we do that work. And they are using the global team as a resource. And we are building incredible expertise there. Expertise and shared services so that we can be lean and mean in the field and totally focused on the work that we're doing. So if you think about our investing work, which is really our core work, we have local investment committees now that really understand the strategy. We have local investment strategies. If you go to Pakistan, you'll find that we're investing in much earlier stage companies because the sector is not very well developed in contrast to East Africa and even India. You will see a slight variation in focus on sectors. So in Acumen America, it's probably the only region where we're actually focused on financial inclusion because we believe that is one of the biggest things keeping the poor exactly where they are. And most importantly, you'll hear from Sachin Rudra, who's been leading our investment work for many years now. And he will tell you about the work that we're doing. But what I want to tell you about is the team that he is building at the center that has the expertise to provide structuring, coaching, exit strategies. It's actually developing programs on how we can intervene after we put in the money to add value to the investments that we're making. And probably most importantly, building the systems across which we share our knowledge. So we are learning fast. We are becoming stronger every single day. And in leadership, Sasha Dichter will talk to you about our incredible plans to expand this program, but again, it's the same model. We have local teams that are delivering the local programs there, and we have a center that we are building that is staying abreast of all the developments in leadership training and leadership development and building curriculum that we can actually share across the network. We now have the power to expand that and to go global, to have tremendous reach. Possibilities. We are freeing this organization and it is growing. And as a result, we have the similar challenges to any growth organization, public or private. When I first came to Acumen, which is 4 years ago and a little bit, I was continuously asked, what is the difference between private and this philanthropic world that you have no entered? And I would say, heck, frankly, don't see much difference. And the challenges are really the same. Access to capital, access to talent. These are what growth organizations really have to deal with. But 4 years later, I have a completely different lens. 4 years later, I understand that the private sector has a very clear definition of what success looks like, and all of the metrics that are widely accepted to measure that success. And we, in this emerging social impact investing space, we're at the forefront of developing that language and those metrics. We are actually leading the charge, but they are not there yet. They are not widely accepted yet. And the benefit of a definition of success and the metrics, they allocate resources in the private sector world. They allocate capital. They allocate talent. And that is much more challenging in this realm because the definition of success and our capacity to measure it is not clearly defined and clearly accepted across those that are controlling the purse strings. So by default, we as investors are measured on financial metrics that are well accepted, and our impact is not valued the way it should be. Don't forget, we invest for impact. We invest to solve a problem. That is the premise on which we enter every single transaction that we are making, every single relationship with every single entrepreneur and promoter. And we test that premise so that we know that when that company actually scales, which is the beauty of market forces really accelerate scale. So when they scale, but we are sure that we are making a big difference in the lives of the poor. We've proven it in India, in the ambulance company, in the solar work that we've done in East Africa, in the ag lending company that we have in Pakistan, and you'll hear from chickens in Ethiopia. We've proven it there as well. But we don't capture that. It's not valued yet in the way that it should. Later stage investors frequently tell us how important the work is that we're doing, how we are creating markets, how we are de-risking companies, proving out models so that private capital, traditional capital in traditional forms, can now play in this game. And yet, we still struggle to raise this critical capital that is high risk, that will invest in these innovations, in these new models, that is philanthropic. And let's talk about the challenges in talent again, because success is difficult to measure. We struggle in certain areas, particularly in some of our markets, to attract good talent, and so we build our own. We're playing the long game here. It's part of the genesis of our leadership work. And so we take people who have already decided that purpose is more important than traditional measurements of success, money, title, position. And then we reinforce their values. They come on a journey with us. And we give them experience, bespoke experience. They become incredibly valuable to us and to others. And so we build an organization around them. That is really clear. But what I think about is how can we celebrate them so that they really feel their value beyond their own intrinsic sense of the change that they have made. These are the role models of the future. These are leaders that measure themselves based on the change that they can make in the world and not on how much money they can make. We need to find ways to value them and celebrate them. You will meet these leaders. You will hear from them. Coming next is Dave Ellis, a role model and an example, who will talk to you about Ethio Chicken. But before I turn the mic over to him, I want to thank all of you in the room, first for coming, but for so many of you who have supported and believed in the work that this organization is doing, that we are doing, that we believe is so much more important today than ever. And I want to thank you also for not only supporting the work, but supporting the organization, building the organization that can deliver this work. Thank you.